everyone, welcome to this intermediate Vinyasa full body flow. My name is Taylor and I will be guiding your practice. We are going to start our practice together in a reclined position. So you can start to make your way there, reclining onto your spine, laying onto your back. And once you're there, anything goes with the arms and legs. Knees can stay bent up to the ceiling, feet on the mat. Maybe you lengthen out your legs long on the mat, taking like a mini Shavasana. If you want more of a hip opener, Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet will come to touch, bent knees will fall apart. Arms can be long by your sides, maybe even a little out to the sides, or even arms overhead. So finding your shape and settle in, taking time to arrive on our mats today, and finding a few moments of stillness, peace, quiet in the mind before we move the body. Starting to do a body scan here. Notice how you're feeling physically in your body, starting at the toes, moving up into the feet, ankles, calves, knees, into the thighs. Bring your awareness into the hips and the low belly. Notice any areas of tightness or tension. Try to let that go. Moving your awareness and attention into the ribs and the chest. Maybe you notice the rise and fall as you breathe in and out. Bringing your awareness into the arms, all the way out through the palms and fingertips. Bringing your attention into the throat, into the jaw, softening in the face, soften space around the eyes. Let the back of the head be heavy into the mat. If you would like to set an intention for your practice, as you move today, you can set that intention now. Anything you want to cultivate more of in the next 60 minutes. Maybe it's a word, phrase, mantra you want to keep bringing the mind back to. That can be helpful if the mind wanders off of your mat. Bring the mind back to that intention or mantra, keeping the mind present throughout your practice. And start to bring awareness to your breath. Just notice it. Notice how it is naturally without changing it. Mindful, intentional rounds of breath in and out. Staying in stillness in your reclined position, just a little while longer, keeping that softness in the body, keeping the mind present on the breath. Three or four more rounds of your own unique breath. And starting to move here, moving into flowing bridges to warm up. Start by walking heels close to hips, knees bent up to the ceiling, arms long by your sides if they're not there already. On an inhale, you'll firmly press your feet into the mat to lift up the low back and hips. Arms come up overhead to the mat above you. Exhale, lowering arms and hips back down. Inhale, press into the feet, curling up through the spine, hips low back. Trace those fingertips up to the ceiling, up above, and lower back down on your exhale. Keep going. Move with your breath on your inhales to lift up. And ride your exhale as you lower down. Keep going at your own pace. So we're warming up the thighs, starting with our back bends. Start by hugging the knees into your chest, curling up into a ball, maybe forehead to knees. And we're coming up into a double toe stretch. So maybe starting to rock and roll your way forward. You can come through tabletop to set up, tucking under all 10 toes, hips sit back towards your heels. We'll keep hands to heart center, or hands could be rested on the tops of your thighs. Close your eyes. Really important stretch here, stretching out our toes, bottom of the feet. Starting to come out of this into child's pose. Toes come to touch, untuck the toes. Knees apart, melting hips to heels, melting chest, forehead towards the mat. Walking fingertips a little closer to the top of the mat, lengthening through the sides of the body, making this active for the last breath or two. Come onto the pads of your fingertips, onto spider fingers, lifting up elbows and forearms. And coming up to tabletop, hands and knees position. Starting to move through your rounds of cats and cows. Inhale, belly drops, open the chest for cow. Exhale, round through the spine, cat pose. Inhale for cow, open up through the chest. Exhale, engage through the low belly, press into the hands for cat. Keep going at your own pace. Always move with your breath. Once you've done a few rounds of traditional cats and cows, maybe taking any other intuitive movements that might feel nice in your body, helping you to warm up and wake up. Hips can go side to side, maybe shifting hips forward and back. Great place for wrist stretches. You can rotate fingertips back to face your knees. Maybe flipping one palm upside down and then the other. So anything goes here. Just take a few moments to yourself or for yourself. Anything the body might be craving. Come back through center, find stillness. Move into downward facing dog. Tuck under the toes, hips high. Come high up on all 10 toes. Take a deep bend in one knee, melt the opposite heel to the mat, high up on those toes, and switch sides. Keep doing that a few more times, pedaling out your feet. And find stillness in your down dog. Scoop up and in the low belly. And shifting it forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. Think navel to spine. Pressing back of the head a bit more up to the ceiling. Broaden through the shoulder blades. And lower onto your knees. Tabletop for thread the needle. Start to lengthen the right arm either out to the side or up to the ceiling. And thread that arm under you. Come to rest on right ear, right shoulder. That left hand can stay by your face. Maybe you walk that hand towards the top of the mat or even to the top right corner, deepening the twist. Tops of feet and shins stay connected towards the mat. Use your hands to press you back up through center. And simply switching sides, thread the needle, reach the left arm out, wrap it underneath you. Same options go with that right hand here. Maybe pressing that left forearm into the mat to deepen the twist. Last breath. And use your hands to press back up through center, tabletop. And moving into downward facing dog again, upside down V shape with the body. From here, rise high up on your toes and melt your heels to the right side of the mat. Both knees can bend, maybe just the right knee bends, getting a side body stretch for the left. Rise high up on those toes back through center and melt your heels to the left side of the mat. Side body stretch for the right. High up on those toes back through center and melt your heels down through center. Neutral downward facing dog. Shifting it forward, plank pose, top of a push-up, shoulders over wrists. Scoop out the low belly, keep pressing into the hands, core is strong. And hips high once again, down dog. We're meeting in a forward fold top of the mat. You can start to step, hop, tiptoe your way to the top, feet meet hands, however you'd like to get there. Inhale to halfway lift. From your half lift, clasp hands back behind you and fold forward. Waterfall over the legs, getting that shoulder stretch. Let the hands fall up off your low back overhead to the front of the room. You can have a big or little bend in the knees here. Chest can even rest on thighs. And when you're ready, let the arms go, maybe moving into ragdoll arms, grabbing towards opposite elbows. You can stay in stillness in your fold. You could find movement, sway side to side, shake the head yes and no. Release the hands down, inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, refold. Start to heel toe your feet out about hips distance, heels in, toes out. Few options here, catcher's pose, elbows on knees or tops of the thighs, hands to heart center. Perfect place to stay. If you'd like to sit back further for Malasana Hindi squat, elbows to the inside of your knees, encouraging them open and out. Nice long spine. If you're staying in Hindi squat, option to move into crow pose if you'd like an arm balance. If you're taking crow, start to palm the mat in front of you. Working those knees high up on the triceps. Maybe you practice lifting one set of toes and then the other. Maybe one day shifting your weight forward into the hands. Gaze just a bit beyond your mat and both sets of toes lift. We'll meet in a forward fold when you're ready to let that go. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen through the spine. For a twist to the right, take a deep bend in the left knee, left hand stays down, twisting open. Right hand can stay up to the ceiling. That hand can come to your low back for support. Releasing back through center. Inhale to halfway lift, lengthen the spine, soften shoulders away from your ears. And we'll simply switch, taking that twist, opening up to the left side. So bend in the right knee, right hand stays down. Same options here with that lifted left hand. Getting that twist in the spine. And folding back through center. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, refold. Reach up, rise up, meeting in Tadasana, mountain pose. Standing at the top of the mat. Hands can be to heart center or along by your sides. Preparing for standing half moon. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Find Kali Mudra. Interlace all fingers, release pointer index. We'll take a bend to the right side. So opening up through the left, back up through center, stand up tall, and exhale, bending over to the left, lengthen through the right side, back up through center, Tadasana, hands to heart center or along by your sides. So standing at the top of our mat, we'll move through 2 Sun A salutations. Go with your breath. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Maybe hands come to shins. Exhale, palm the mat, plank pose. Hug elbows into the sides as you lower. Maybe all the way to the belly. Cobra for your back bend. Inhale. Forehead back down and press back to down dog. Tuck under the toes, engage through the thighs, lift up through plank and hips high, down dog. Look to the top of the mat. Step, hop, tiptoe your way there. Inhale once you get there. Exhale, refold. Ride your inhale breath in all the way to the top and exhale, breath out, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen. Exhale, palm the mat, plank, lower through your chaturanga push-up. Hug the elbows into the sides as you lower. Inhale for your back bend. Could be Sphinx, Cobra, or Up Dog. Exhale, roll over the toes, press back, hips high, down dog. Look to the top, up in between your hands. Feet meet hands, however you'd like to get there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folds. And inhale, rise to stand. Tadasana, mountain pose. Pause when you get there. Preparing for a standing balance eagle. Standing on the left leg. Take a bend in the knees. Right leg wraps up and over. So deep cross in the legs. If you're adding the arms, the right arm will wrap underneath the left. So deep cross in the arms, deep cross in the legs. Squeezing thighs together, finding balance. Keep the arms, undo the legs, coming through a balancing warrior 3. Uppercase T shape with the body. Into grounded warrior 3. When you're ready, undo the arms, hands frame that front foot, and folding forward. Lunge those lifted toes to the back of your mat. Grounded runner's lunge. We'll find a flow here on your exhale. Move it into intense leg stretch. Keep the feet where they are, 2 straight legs. Inhale back through grounded runner's lunge. Open up through the chest. Exhale, hips high, intense leg stretch. You'll probably just be on those back toes. The heel will not touch. Inhale back through grounded runner's lunge. Exhale, intense leg stretch. Last time, do it again. Move with your breath. And from here, setting up for warrior 2. Spin onto the back heel, keep a bend in the front knee. Arms windmill open and out. So upper body is facing the long side of your mat, shoulders stacked over hips, reaching out long in both directions with your arms and fingertips. Gaze just beyond those front fingertips. Moving into Trikonasana triangle pose, straighten through that front leg. And it's a side bend over. That left hand can gently rest on the left thigh, shin. Maybe it slides down to the ankle or the mat one day. Side body stretch here, creating space in between the ribs on the right side. Coming through a grounded runner's lunge. For revolve side angle, a twist. The right hand stays planted down. Twisting open to the left side of the mat. Think about stacking shoulders. Releasing that lifted hand back down, grounded runner's lunge. Turning on the mat, just a quarter turn. Walk with your hands 90 degrees into a right side lunge. Right toes out to the corner of your mat. Take a bend in that knee. Maybe that right elbow comes to the inside of that bent knee, encouraging it open and out to the side. Make sure it is not collapsing in. Nice long spine. Walk hands back through center, 2 straight legs. Take a breath. And quarter turn back to the front. We'll sit back for Triang. So come onto that back knee, untuck the back toes, hips sit to the inside of that back foot. Resting on the top of that back foot, toes pointed straight back behind you. You can stay seated upright, maybe eyes are closed. If you want more of a hamstring stretch, you can fold forward. If you want more of a quad opener for that right side, top of the right thigh, you can recline back onto your elbows or maybe all the way onto your spine. So a few different options, just depends on the kind of stretch you want out of this pose. Taking what you need, recognizing what your body needs or wants in this moment. Coming back up to a seat if you moved away. Slowly and carefully crawl back forward through a grounded runner's lunge. Step back to plank, move through a belly down vinyasa, lower through your push-up. Inhale to your back bend. And hips high, down dog. Pause when you get there. And make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Reach up, rise up. Tadasana, mountain pose. Find stillness for a moment. Reset, regroup, that side is over. Preparing for eagle on the other side. Bend in the knees, shifting weight into the right standing leg. Left leg wraps up and over. If you're adding the arms, just optional, the left arm will wrap underneath the right. Squeezing everything into the midline, into center. best effort, keep the arms, move through a balancing warrior 3. And when you're ready, release the hands down for grounded warrior 3. Left leg comes straight out of the hip behind you, flex that lifted foot. And lunge those toes to the back of your mat, grounded runner's lunge. Try to find that lift in the chest. Adding our flow, exhale, keep the feet where they are, intense leg stretch, 2 straight legs, fold forward. Inhale, grounded runner's lunge. Exhale, intense leg stretch. Twice more, go with your breath. From here, setting up for warrior 2, spin onto that back heel, bend in the front knee. Arms windmill open and out. Good. Checking in with that front knee here. Make sure it is bent, tracking more to the pinky toe side of the foot rather than collapsing in. Straighten through that front leg, triangle, Trikonasana. Find a nice place for that right hand to gently rest. Just avoid the knee. Twisting the center of your chest open to the side of the room. Reaching left fingertips up to the ceiling. Windmill hands down to frame that right foot, grounded runner's lunge. For revolve side angle, a twist, keep the left hand down, twisting open to the right side of your mat. Twists are great for detoxifying and cleansing the body. Right hand back down, preparing to turn on our mat, stay low, walk with your hands a quarter turn. For a left side lunge, left toes out to the corner of your mat, bend in that knee. Long spine here, think tailbone, crown of head moving long in opposite directions. Legs are strong. Walk hands back through center, 2 straight legs, take a breath. And walk hands back to the front of the mat. We'll sit back for Triang, lower onto that back knee. Hips sit to the inside of that back heel, getting that internal hip rotation on the left side. And yogi's choice, you can stay seated upright. You can fold forward or recline back. Wherever you are, close your eyes, settle in for a few rounds of breath. Starting to come up out of this, slowly crawl your way back forward through a grounded runner's lunge. Another quarter turn to face the long side of our mat. For a wide-legged fold through center, Prasarita Padottanasana A as an option. Walking hands back in line with your feet. Bend in the elbows back behind you, hands press into the mat to bring the crown of head closer to the mat. Getting a little more weight in the ball of the feet, getting out of the heels. Next, inhale, halfway lift up through center. And walk with your hands back to the front of the mat. Taking an optional belly down vinyasa. Exhale as you lower through your push-up. Inhale to your back bend, Sphinx Cobra up dog. And exhale, press back to down dog is where we will meet. Hips high. Start to make your way to the top of the mat, feet meet hands. Inhale, halfway lift to lengthen when you get there. Exhale, refold. And root to rise, reach up. Tadasana. Mountain pose. Reset, regroup. Cleansing breath, deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and let it go. One more round of breath in Tadasana. And moving into another standing balance for standing Apanasana, working towards big toe hold. We'll stand on the right leg first. Start to hug that left knee into your chest. Hands can clasp just below that knee. Maybe peace sign fingers hook big toe. This is a perfect place to stay standing. Maybe you start to extend that lifted leg out a little or a lot. It's not all or nothing. That leg can stay bent. Find your balance, find your variation of this standing pose. And best effort, balancing warrior 3. Swing that leg back behind you and plant the hands down, grounded warrior 3 again, square off the hips as you fold forward over that standing leg. With control, land those lifted toes to the back of the mat for low lunge. Come onto the back knee, untuck the toes. Hands stay grounded here. We'll find a flow on your exhale. Shift the hips back for half split, straightening through that front leg, fold forward. On your inhale, bend in the front knee, open up through the chest, low lunge. Exhale, hips back, fold forward, half splits. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, moving into half splits. Inhale, back, forward through low lunge. Last time, go with your breath. Tuck under those back toes, lift off that back knee. We're moving into extended side angle. So spin onto the back heel. It's the same legs as warrior 2. This time the right forearm is going to rest on the right thigh, left fingertips up to the ceiling. Another side body stretch here for the left side as we compress through the right. Windmill the hands back down to frame that front foot. Preparing for balancing half moon. Bring that right hand forward of the toes and out to the corner of your mat just a bit. Step up into that right leg. And then you're opening up to the side of your mat towards the left. Stacking hips. Stacking shoulders, that left leg is lifted. Make sure you can still see those lifted toes in your peripheral vision. Release that left hand back down, lunge those toes to the back of your mat. For diagonal quad stretch, lower onto the back knee, untuck the toes, the left hand is going to stay down. Windmill that right hand for those back toes. If you have that bind and connection, hand to foot, gently pulling heel to glute. Getting that quad stretch on the top of that left thigh. Without flinging. If you have the bind, releasing foot out of the hand, come back through a grounded runner's lunge just as a transition. And quarter turn, walk with your hands 90 degrees. For a twist to the back of your mat, right hand stays planted down just under your face, twisting open. That hand can stay lifted to the ceiling. Maybe you place it on your low back for support. Release the left hand back down through center. Take a breath. And walk hands back to face the front of your mat. Lower onto that back knee. Moving into pigeon. Start to heel toe that front foot across the top of your mat. Find a seat over towards your right hip. That back leg can stay straight, more of a pigeon shape, or you can bend it at the knee, more of a deer pose shape. We're working towards having that right shin parallel to the top. Once you found your legs, start to fold forward. You can rest the forehead into your hands, resting elbows to the mat. If you want to fold deeper, maybe stacking palms, make a pillow for your forehead and lower down. Settling in for this deep outer right hip stretch on this side. If the mind has wandered, bring it back. If you have forgotten about the breath or lost it, come back to it. One more round of breath. Start to use your hands to roll up through the spine. Head comes up last. From here, encourage that right heel close to the hips. Lengthen through the back leg, tuck under those toes. Come right up through cheetah, press into the hands. Engage through the low belly. And right toes high to the sky, 3-point. Yawn, open that hip. Take a bend in that knee, drop heel to glute. You can stay in stillness. Maybe trace circles with that knee around. Good counter stretch after our pigeon. Neutral down dog. Move through a belly down vinyasa, plank. Lower through your push-up. Open up for your back bend. And press back to down dog. Look up in between your hands. Tiptoe step or hop your way to the top. Once you're there, inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, refold. And reach up, rise up. Tadasana, mountain pose. Maybe close your eyes, be in stillness. Reset, regroup, that side is over. Preparing for standing Appanasana or working towards big toe hold. Stand on the left leg. Right leg will be lifted. Start by hugging that knee into your chest. This is standing Appanasana, perfect place to stay. If you're working towards big toe hold, peace sign fingers hook big toe. Another perfect place to stay just like that. Maybe you start to extend that lifted leg out a little or a lot. More important to stand up tall here with a long spine rather than how straight that lifted leg is getting. And best effort, keep that leg lifted, swing it back behind you for balancing warrior 3. And when you're ready, land those hands down to frame that front foot, square off your hips and fold forward for grounded warrior 3. Rotate those lifted flex toes down to face the mat. That'll naturally help you square off your hips. And land those toes to the back of the mat. Come onto the back knee, untuck the toes, low lunge. Hands are going to stay grounded. And exhale, shift it back for half splits. Inhale, forward, low lunge. Exhale, half splits. Twice more. Meeting in low lunge. Moving into extended side angle, tuck under those back toes, spin onto that heel, keep a bend in the front knee. The left forearm is going to come to the left thigh for support. Opening up your chest to the side of the room, right fingertips reach up to the ceiling. Feeling that length being created in the right side body. Windmill, hands down to the top of the mat, frame that front foot, setting up for balancing half moon. Step up into that front leg. Left hand forward of those toes and out to the corner of your mat, slightly reopening up to the side of the mat, side of the room. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Right hand back down, lunge those right toes to the back of your mat. For diagonal quad stretch, come onto the back knee, untuck those toes, right hand stays down. Windmill the left hand for that back foot. If you have that binded connection, great. If not, no problem. You're still getting a quad stretch for the top of that back thigh. If you have the bind, gently pulling heel to glute. Without flinging, release. Come back through a grounded runner's lunge as a transition. And quarter turn, walk with your hands, face the long side of your mat. For our twist, opening up to the back of the mat, left hand stays down. Twisting open, right fingertips up to the ceiling or to your low back. Shifting a little more weight into the ball of your feet, get out of the heels. Back through center. And walk your hands back to the front. For lizard. So come onto the back knee, untuck those toes, start to heel toe that front foot across the top of your mat, coming down to a seat over towards the left hip. Left shin parallel to the top, flex that foot. Back leg can be straight or bent. It's more about the front leg here. And once your legs are set up, take your time, starting to fold forward. As you fold, find some place for your forehead to rest. It's really nice if you can get your forehead to be grounded on something here. And checking back in with yourself, with your mind, with your breath, with your body. If you feel like you're holding on to tension or tightness anywhere, try to let it go in the low belly. See how much work the arms are doing here. Try to let that go. Release out of the jaw, throat. Using hands to press yourself up here, roll up through the spine, head comes up last. Encourage that front heel closer to the hips. Lengthen through the back leg, tuck under those toes, come right up through cheetah. Press into the hands, round through the spine. And left toes high to the sky, 3-point. Take a bend in that knee, drop heel to glute, open stack hips. You can stay in stillness, you can trace a knee circle or two. Hopefully a nice counter stretch after our pigeon pose. And step that left foot up in between your hands. Last time, quarter turn. Face the long side of your mat. For Prasarita Padottanasana D, peace sign fingers will hook the big toes. And start to fold through center. Let those elbows fall out to the sides. Fingers are pulling up on your toes as your toes are pressing into your fingers to keep them grounded into the mat. Release. Hands back through center. Inhale, halfway lift. Quarter turn back to the front. Last belly down vinyasa. Plank. Lower through your push-up. Inhale to your back bend. If it's upward facing dog, the only things touching are tops of the feet and hands. Meeting in downward facing dog, hips high. Take another breath. Coming to tabletop, hands and knees. Coming down to a seat, you can cross at the ankles, you can swing legs off to one side or the other, come onto your bottom and swing legs forward. For Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, legs can be out more like a diamond shape, heels a little further from hips, or heels closer to hips, knees out to the sides. Either way, find your shape. Just notice how that gives you a different feeling, different stretch and sensation. And wherever you are, folding forward a little or a lot. Starting to slow things down here. Starting to roll up through the spine, head comes up last. Bring hands to the outside of the knees to encourage them back together through center. Moving into a seated forward fold, lengthen out two straight legs, rock side to side, find your sitting bones. Inhale to reach up. And exhale, fold it forward. Maybe the belly touches the thighs first. Reaching for the toes and the feet. Deep stretch for the entire back line of the body. Heels all the way up through the legs, all the way up through the spine, the neck out through the crown of the head. And rolling your way back up to a seated position. We're coming down to a reclined position, same way we started. So string of pearls, if you'd like some core work to get you there, slowly start to lower down. One vertebrae at a time. Keep those feet grounded as you lower. Moving into bridge pose for a back bend. Heels close to hips, knees bent up to the ceiling, arms long by your sides. On an inhale, feet firmly press into the mat to lift up hips and low back. Pressing hips to be up in line with your knees. Forearms can also be pressing into the mat to help you lift up. Start to lower the hips back down to the mat. Walking feet out about mat's width, and softly let those knees windshield wiper side to side. Bring the knees back up through center. Setting up for another bridge pose. On an inhale, feet firmly press into the mat. Maybe trying something different with your arms this time, clasping hands underneath you. Legs are strong, glutes are engaged. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Little sips of air. And lower hips back down to the mat. This time walk feet out about mat's width, but let knees fall into center towards one another. Start to heel toe feet back together. And setting up for our third and final bridge pose, symmetrical back bend. Get your legs set up, and when you're ready, lifting up, hips high. For bridge pose into your back bend, maybe walking fingertips towards your heels. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. Strengthening through the back line of our body while we lengthen and stretch out through the front line of the body. And lower those hips back down. Finding Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet come to touch, bent knees fall apart. We've been here before. We're just now reclined, and earlier we were seated. It might feel nice to have one hand to your heart or chest, one hand to your low belly. Start to come back to your breath, slowing it down. Feel the rise and fall of your inhales and exhales. Start to bring knees back together. Moving into an inversion. I'm going to cue shoulder stands, so start to lift those legs straight up to the ceiling. Lifting up the hips and low back. Hands are going to come to the low back for support. Working elbows towards one another. Think shoulders, hips, ankles all in line. There should be no weight on the back of your neck. If there is, come out, and hips can stay grounded on the mat as you lift those legs straight up to the ceiling. And from your inversion, starting to come out of this, lower hips back down if they were lifted. And lengthen out through the left leg long, hug the right knee into your chest. Cross that knee over you for a twist. Maybe the right arm comes out of your shoulder. You can gaze in that direction. Bring that right knee back up through center. And we'll switch. So lengthen out long through the right leg, hug the left knee into your chest for a moment. And finding that twist, let that knee fall across you. Maybe gaze in the opposite direction. Bring that knee back up through center. And lengthen out long on your mat, preparing for our final rest. Feet at least mat's width. Let feet flop out to the sides. Arms out long, palms up. Close your eyes. Slowing down the breath, slowing down the heart rate. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. And taking these last few moments here to be with yourself in stillness and silence. Take rest. Shavasana. beginning to bring awareness back into your breath. And let that breath invite small movements back into the body, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles. If a full body stretch would feel nice, you can reach arms overhead, lengthening out. Maybe hugging knees into chest, give yourself a big squeeze. And we'll end together in a comfortable seat facing the front. So however makes the most sense or is best for you to get there, slowly making your way there with eyes closed or softly gazing down. Meeting with hands to heart center. It was my honor to guide you through your practice today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thumb knuckles to our third eye, and we bow together in gratitude for time on our mats and for each other. Namaste.